we will bring the Tuesday, August 25th, 2020 Board of Adjustments meeting to order. The first item on the agenda would be the approval of minutes. Maybe before we start, we have Jared Heller, our member Heller and member Boreen are remote via phone, and then member Mitchell and Deb Wendell Dobbs and myself, Mike Love, are present in the commission chambers. So first item is the approval of the minutes from the July 28th, 2020 meeting. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. We'll move on to item number 2, which is new business. 2A was a variance request for 615 11th Avenue North that has been withdrawn. So we will move on to 2B, which is a variance request for 3201 33rd Street South. Before Aaron starts there, I would just like to declare a conflict of interest for myself. The representative for the applicant is Brian Patgill with Houston Engineering, and I am employed by Houston Engineering, so I will be abstaining from voting on this item. Okay, go ahead, Aaron.
All right, thank you, and good morning. Item 2B is a floodproofing variance. This is the subject property is located at 3201 33rd Street South in Fargo. This is the site of an existing medical office building, and they are proposing to construct a building addition onto the southeast corner of the building. It's been a while since I think the board has seen a floodproofing variance, and so just a quick refresher in that regard. The floodproofing code is kind of incorporated into Chapter 21 of the Fargo Municipal Code. And there are some provisions within the floodproofing code for a variance, and so it is very similar to the land development code variance, but also a little bit different. The floodproofing variance criteria for approval are listed within your staff report, but more specifically within Chapter 21, again, of the municipal code. Since it is within Chapter 21 and does deal with floodproofing issues, City Planning Department staff does defer to the Building Inspections Department as well as the Fargo Engineering Department on the technical analysis and recommendation for floodproofing variances. So I'm here just to introduce the case, and then I'll hand it off to other staff from Inspections and Engineering to talk through some of the more technical details. So again, this request is for a building addition. The purpose of the variance is to allow the building addition to be constructed to a lower elevation than would otherwise be allowed by the floodproofing code. Specifically, there's 2 different building elevation heights that the variance is being requested for. One is the lowest opening, which is proposed to be 0.8 feet below the required lowest opening elevation of 906.7 feet. In addition to that, the other request is for the ground elevation within 15 feet of the building to be 0.6 feet below the required minimum elevation of 904.7 feet. The property here again is located on the corner of 32nd Avenue South and 33rd Street South. This is an existing medical facility. Again, the proposed addition is on the southeast corner of the building, which is within part of the FEMA floodplain. And I wanted to note too that we do have an updated recommendation that building inspection staff will speak to as well. I just wanted to point that out quick as well. And I think with that, I will hand it off to Jody or Bruce.
Morning, board members. Jody Bertrand, Engineering Department. As Aaron kind of noted, I guess I was going to go ahead and comment on the elevations in regard to engineering analysis. As you can kind of see on the map presently, we've got the property shown. It actually shows the BFE or the FEMA 100-year displayed with the actual improvements that they're looking to do. It actually goes, of course, to I believe it's the west and the south. So it actually is going to impact the 100-year elevation for FEMA. So typically when we do evaluations of properties, we got the 41-foot elevation, which is an additional standard that the city of Fargo is presently imposing, and what we've kind of discussed internally is that, that policy in regard to, the 41-foot elevation is, for additions, is, not what the, was the original intent. If there's actually a infill lot that doesn't have any construction on it, or if there's stuff that's only in the 41, and there's a property that's, touched and it's only an addition, we are not gonna use that as, one of our criteria for, issuing a permit. So with this property, the major impact is, the addition that's going into the FEMA 100 year. In regard, we've got a couple of stipulations that have been approved by the engineer, where they acknowledge that when they do the addition in both directions, that they are going to raise the existing ground to the BFE like you would normally do in some of the newer lots. So the existing, or the final structure, I guess, with the addition will be shown as it is there, that it won't be in the 100 year once they do the Lomer F paperwork. As Aaron noted, there's just two criteria. The finished floor is actually meets the FEMA and the state of North Dakota standards, which is BFE +1. So being only 0.8 feet below is actually just the additive of the additional 1 feet that the city of Fargo does. So it's engineering's opinion that the 1 feet below is sufficient to go ahead and grant the variance based on elevation. Any questions?
Any questions for Jody?
Is it correct that the addition is facing 33rd Street and then south?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jody.
Hand it off to Bruce.
Morning, Chairman and Board. Bruce Terrellson, Inspections Department. I'm only going to comment on the one stipulation for the motion that was added on. During the discussions, we all agreed to the comments that were provided in your packet. There was an email that was sent out to the proponent of the variance in regard to substantial improvement to the project. And I don't believe that we ever did receive a response to that. So another stipulation should be added that the project does not meet the criteria for FEMA, set by FEMA for substantial improvement.
Do we understand that addition? So you wanna add that to the motion, or to your staff recommended motion?
Yes, there is one, correct, there is one stipulation. We'd like to have two. The second one being that the project does not meet the criteria set by FEMA for substantial improvement. No?
And, well, I can wait until you're done presenting.
So is that included in this suggested motion here?
So this recommendation on the screen in front of you is what's included in the packet. So
Okay.
this is the old recommendation.
Okay,
And so, as Bruce said, it would be basically adding an additional condition onto this recommendation, as Bruce specified.
I guess I don't know if I fully understand the additional you just wanna state that it doesn't meet?
Just if this text could be added right on to that recommendation. And the project does not meet the criteria set by FEMA for substantial improvement.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to understand what you were asking there, so. You got that? Okay. All right, any questions for Bruce?
Could you maybe explain what you're expecting to hear from the applicant regarding substantial improvement?
FEMA has a requirement that if you improve a building by more than 50%, you're required to bring the property up to the new code. So we haven't seen those numbers, and those numbers, there's some guesses at those numbers at the time, but that needs to be written out, and we need to approve that. All we have is old information right now in the submittal, which does not break out the building from the site work and things like that. So we need those numbers.
And that, Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, that's value-based, correct?
Valuation of the building.
Yeah, so 50% of the value of the building.
Correct. And we will go with the best information we have at the time. And I think the current valuation was done when the building was constructed. So that's all we could look at. It does not meet it today, but then the submittal did not break out site work from building, so we don't have that either.
Okay, any other questions for Bruce? No. We'll hear from the applicant, Brian Pattengale, representing the owner.
Morning, Commissioners. As Jody and Bruce pointed out, essentially there's an existing building they have a medical practice in. They would like to continue to use that building, but obviously they need some expanded space. As it currently sits, the building's floor is above the current floodplain, and so it's sort of sitting there right now. But with the additional impositions of the 41-foot stage that are technically labeled in the ordinance, we don't meet those. We can't just have a 1-foot differential between the two building finished floors. That's too much to overcome as far as trying to ramp in between and maintain ADA access and usability of the existing structure. So essentially they come in and ask for this variance because they'd like to stay in their current facility and continue to use it instead of going and expanding someplace else as far as building a new building and that's expansions that meets their needs, more or less. So we sort of looked at it and said this is sort of a good compromise. We meet most of the requirements as far as we'll be able to Lomar out the building once it's done because we're already above the finished floor requirements there, so we meet the state requirements as that, so we're not going to impact them long term as far as the owner won't have to carry flood insurance. Well, they can, but they won't be required to once we can complete the Lomar work on that. And there's obviously the owner's has spoken with the owner about the labor of liability against the city. They didn't have any issues with that at all in regards to that. So like I said, it's sort of pretty much a straightforward sort of addition thing on this as far as just requesting the variance.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Brian, do you see any issues with the substantial improvement condition?
No,
Is the value of it less than 50% of the?
I don't know off the top of my head how much the addition raises the value, but if they're using the original 1980s building valuation, that's 30 years plus out of date. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. We'll work with the owner if they need to scale it back a little bit to meet that requirement. I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Is anyone, any discussion? No. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the findings of staff and hereby approve the requested variance on the basis that the review considerations of section 21-0603 have been satisfied, with the condition that the applicant meets the criteria set by FEMA for substantial improvement, and with the condition that the applicant sign and submit a waiver of liability against the city.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. Please call the roll.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Breen,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Wendell Dobb.
Yes.
Okay. Your variance request is approved. Thank you. Seeing no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned.